and Sharon draws it back. Hollinger chasing it down in his own zone. Flips it off the glass, down and down ice, and that's going to be it. That is it. The Rochester Americans, the Calder Cup champions.
I get goosebumps right now thinking about it. I've watched it a number of times during the summer, and I've got to say it, I have nothing but respect for the people that played under me last year, because they went through holy hell at times, but they believed, they regained their composure and played with confidence, and I think we all learned something from that. And you learn every day, and we learned a big lesson last year in how you approach games. You need to approach them knowing you're going to win with confidence, and things take care of themselves. And I'm very thankful to be involved in something like that, and to have the guys that I had last year to be able to do something like that. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
To fully appreciate how much the 1995-96 Rochester Americans accomplished, it's important to understand how far this team came. The seeds of the Calder Cup were planted in the ruins of the previous year. April 19th, 1995, a first-round playoff game against the Binghamton Rangers in front of what became a hostile home crowd. The Amerks lost 8-0, an embarrassing display of hockey, sending the team to a second straight first-round playoff exit. In rapid succession, John Van Boxmeer, the winningest coach in Amerks history, resigned to take a job with Los Angeles in the IHL. Team president Steve Donner became team owner Steve Donner. And local ownership meant things would be done differently than when the NHL's Buffalo Sabres owned the team.
I think they tried to see if a talented developmental team would work here. I think the answer has been a resounding no. They've recognized that and have given us a chance to change the equation to help their needs and to help us for the future. So I think it's a sign of a good partner, and I'm anxious to work with them for the future and work on making it a better relationship.
John Tortorella, an assistant with the Sabres under 3 different head coaches, was hired to replace Van Boxmeer.
Rochester, I mean, it's just one of the greatest organizations in the American Hockey League, and the tradition and what the people demand out here, I think is going to put pressure on the players here, along with my demands on the players and myself, to make this work.
The locally owned Amerks brought in their own players. Scott Metcalf returned. Metter exemplified what Rochester wanted wearing its uniform: toughness. That move was backed up by the signing of Dan Frawley, who, like Metcalf, represented character. But unlike Metcalf, Frawley hadn't played professional hockey for 3 years. At 33 years old, Frawls was a reach, but the team had little to lose.
You don't want to come back and fail at what you're doing, but for that part of it, I felt comfortable playing, and I still had some good hockey in me. And the other point is, after you've been out of the game for 2 years, do you want to step back into it and the lifestyle you lead as a hockey player as opposed to a regular person?
And there was Craig Sharon, a 28-year-old hockey nomad who played for 3 teams in 3 different leagues the year before. Smallish, but with a scoring touch, Craig was in search of a more permanent address.
We felt we had all the ingredients, the toughness and some of the skill, and some of the young kids were very highly touted, so we were really excited about our season.
The team that took the ice to start the new season was radically different from its predecessor. Only 7 players returned, and there was a new attitude. Even if the Amerks didn't win, they'd go down fighting. The season began on the road. 4 games in the Maritimes that produced 2 wins and a little hockey history.
Over the puck, Stauber shoots at the length of the ice. Is it in? Is it in? Yes, it is in! Yes, it is in! Rob Stauber!
Obviously, scoring a goal is great, and it is part of history. But I'd like to have 5 shutouts in a row, obviously, and 5 wins, or whatever it might be, but it was fun.
The Raps came off the team in front of the home crowd on October the 13th against Cornwall. Dean Melanson scored shorthanded, and the Amerks won 4-2. But Rochester lost 5 straight games to finish the month 4-8. November brought a new look, mothballing the traditional whites for candy stripes, a celebration of the team's past. In its 40th anniversary season, the 1996 Amerks took on the look of the 1956 model, the original.
I like them. You just have to have a pair of sunglasses. Is that good or bad? No, it's good. Nice and bright. Easy to see. It's easy to see our teammates now on the ice. Should be able to get the puck to them nice and easy.
The new look Amerks won the first 3 times they played in stripes. November was a 500 month for the team. December was a disaster. The Amerks lived up to their billing, certainly, but took the tough guy thing a little too far. Even coach John Tortorella got caught up, drawing a suspension for a memorable altercation against Carolina. Discipline was a dirty word.
Tough hockey is when you're going to take a hit to score a goal, or you're going to take a hit or block a shot for your team. And at the start of the year, we didn't have that. We had guys who were willing and prepared to fight, but they weren't willing to prepared to fight to win the game. And there's a difference, I think, there. And fighting to win a game is, like I say, taking a hit or you know, maybe a key time to fight. But we had guys fighting at just atrocious times and maybe taking that extra penalty, and that seemed to hurt us.
The Amerks lost 8 of 9 games, won just 3 times the whole month, and fell to the bottom of the standings in the AHL Central Division, where they'd stay for more than 2 months.
That was very difficult. Personally, I was questioning myself. I was like, maybe I didn't make the right decision to come back and play hockey. You know, because I've always been a competitor and like to win, and we just weren't competing. I mean, there were some nights we, you know, had trouble showing up, and you know, it was. But I kept thinking that, you know, sometimes you have to hit rock bottom before you can experience the highs.
Few in those dark days felt the Rochester Americans would turn things around. The current cast was lifeless and in desperate need of a savior.
I go back to the meeting we had December 31st when we wiped the record off our board in our room. We lost like 12 one-goal games within the last 2 months in November and December, and so we were at that area where we were saying, well, we're close, you know, a break here and a break there, we'll do okay, we'll win some games. We had to get rid of that mentality. We had to force the breaks. We had to start winning the one-goal games and find a way to do that, and it started with our goaltender.
Andrei Trefilov was Buffalo's backup to Dominic Hasek. He came to Rochester on an injury rehab assignment, played just 5 games for the Amerks. Trefilov stopped 91% of the shots he faced and won 4 of those 5 games.
Before that, our goaltending, you know, it was shaky at times, and as the whole team was at the same point. But it just seemed like, as a lot of other guys did, they came in and showed other players to, you know, that you've got to do what it takes every night, and that it can be done. Great goaltending can win us games.
Inspired by Trefilov, Amerks goalie Steve Shields picked up where he left off, winning 4 straight starts. Buoyed by Steve's suddenly solid goaltending, the Amerks looked like a team again.
I'll say right now, I thought Stevie Shields was awful the first half of the year, but he was that good, that much better, and carried us through the second half as far as goaltending. That's your most important position, and he really stood tall.
They picked up sniper Brian Holzinger, the former Hobie Baker Award winner as the top college hockey player. Holzinger wasn't scoring in Buffalo and was rapidly losing his confidence.
The reason I'm down here, I think, is because you know, I need some confidence, and you know, hopefully I'll get a little bit more playing time down here, and we'll go from there.
The last piece of the puzzle fell into place with the addition of 10-year NHL veteran defenseman Doug Huda. Huda, Holzinger, and a reborn Shields helped lead the Rochester Americans back. The team vacated the cellar for good with an overtime win over Adirondack February the 18th. But there were casualties along the way, too. For 11 years, Jody Gage wore the Emmerich uniform, distinguished himself on and off the ice, rewrote the team's record books. Gage was one of the best and most influential professional athletes in Rochester history. Slowed by a knee injury, suffered 2 seasons before, Gage was forced to give up his pursuit of the American Hockey League goal-scoring record, coming up just 19 short. His last goal as an Emmerich came 3 months earlier. And on February 29th, Gage made official what had been in the works for weeks and retired into the front office.
The hardest part was going through is this was, I felt like I wasn't contributing to the hockey club, and it was very hard sitting up there watching in the stands and not being a part of, and this gives me a new avenue to be part of, and I'm excited and looking forward to it.
I truly believe I am the luckiest man right now today and my hockey career. You know, I might not have made a lot of money or played in the National Hockey League, but I have probably the greatest memories of any hockey player. Thank you for all these memorable years. They're going to last a lifetime, an eternity. Thank you very, very much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much.
The last 6 weeks of the season saw the Emmerichs solidify their playoff position and gear up for the upcoming playoff season. One of the most memorable games came against their longtime rivals from the Southern Tier.
Here's Nickel, moving in the zone, but can't shoot. Too deep, drops it back, put it in front, the shot, they score! Nifty move, enters the zone, in the slot, stops, feet in front, tip to the goal, they score! Dixon Ward through to the far side for Nickel, tips it in, and the Emmerichs take a 2-1 lead. Here's Moore, has Sharon in the slot, place pass, Sharon shoots, he scores!
The Emmerichs beat Binghamton 10-3.
Emmerichs are awesome! Yeah!
The Rochester Americans finished 3rd in the AHL Central Division. Defenseman Terry Hollinger had 50 assists and was voted to the postseason All-Star team. Steve Shields wound up with 20 wins in the Nets and was among the team's most improved players. The old man, Dan Frawley, 2 years retired, played in a team-high 77 games. Scott Metcalf was a 21-goal scorer and Rochester's most popular player, again. Craig Sharon spent an entire season in one place, led the Emmerichs in scoring, and was voted Rochester's MVP by his teammates. And Dixon Ward, the sometimes happy, sometimes not would-be Buffalo Sabre, scored 38 goals. Generally regarded as the most talented player on the team, his biggest moments were yet to come. The Rochester Americans last won a Calder Cup in 1987. Before that, in 1983. Those clubs were powerhouses, expected to challenge, expected to win. It was different in 1996. After a roller coaster season, few really knew what to expect from the Emmerichs in the playoffs.
We went out into the rinks game time thinking we were going to win, not going out there, well, you know, if Shieldsy plays well, we got a break here, we may win this game, you know, then maybe we can get going. We knew we were going to win the game. And again, it's not X's and O's, it's not what the coach is doing, it's how you feel as a player and as a team collectively when you go into that game, and it starts in the locker room. And we were very confident.
They opened at Glens Falls against Adirondack. The Amerks' proven firepower against the Red Wings' disciplined defense in a first-round best-of-5. Dixon Ward left Jamie Pushner in his wake, and the Amerks won Game 1, 4-1. But the star of the series was goalie Steve Shields, who stoned a Game 2 penalty shot attempt by Ryan Duffy and brought the Amerks home with a 2-game lead.
As an individual, I improved my play, and as the team starts to play better, then, you know, it just reflects on the goaltending, and eventually the goaltenders are looked upon to be part of the reason why you're playing better, and that's why I think that we're getting a little more of the credit now than we were in the past.
Shields backboned a sweep over Adirondack with a shutout. Ward with the most memorable moment in a 6-0 win and Rochester's first Calder Cup playoff series win in 3 years. The Amerks caught a break when Cornwall upset the regular season leaders and the defending Calder Cup champs from Albany. So Rochester was dealt aces. And time to revisit Dixieland as Dixon Ward threads the pass to Doug Huda. The Amerks won the first 2 of the series at home and found themselves sitting 5-0 in the postseason.
We don't see a reason why we ever have to lose a game. Our goal right now is to win every game and take the cup home. And obviously that's a very hard thing to do, but that's the way we approach every game. We have to. We're confident. We want to go out there and prove something. This team took a lot of beatings early on in the year, and a lot of people had no confidence in us, and we have a lot to prove, and we're very happy to go out there and do it every night.
To the Cornwall Civic Complex, where the Amerks hadn't won all year, but Dan Frawley's wraparound claims Game 3. Game 4 goes to overtime, but the result is the same. Ward to Brian Hosinger, and Rochester's second straight series sweep was complete, even as the post-game congratulatory handshake took on a more personal touch. The Amerks were 7-0 and halfway home.
Playoffs are fun. This is when you enjoy yourself. You're not playing for money anymore. It's not a business, it's a sport. And our team was having a ball.
The Western Conference Finals were against Syracuse. The Crunch had traveled Rochester's path to the series, another team down on its luck in the regular season before putting it together in the playoffs. Syracuse took out Baltimore in a tough 7-game series to get here. The Amerks, better rested and still undefeated, hosted the first 2 games and took them both. The lunch pail line led the way. Never very pretty, but usually pretty effective. Dan Frawley with the wraparound. And a newcomer with a contribution, Wayne Primo. Victories in the first 2 games sent the Amerks to Syracuse up 2 in the series and still undefeated in the playoffs.
The streak was becoming bigger than the games. It was like, you know, we've got to go out there and win this game or it's all over type of thing with the streak. So I think when we finally lost the game, it took a lot of pressure off us, and you know, you kind of think, well, losing the game's not good, but it turned out to be good because then we can just concentrate on winning the series at a time. It didn't matter that we didn't have to win it 4 straight or continue this streak. It was just, you know, as long as you won the 4 games.
The 9-0 Amerks at Syracuse for Game 3. Scott Walker with the steal and goal. The Crunch take the game 4-2. The streak was over, and this was a series again at 2-1. Game 4 produced magic for Rochester, with Scott Nichols serving a major penalty. The Amerks scored shorthanded. Not once, but twice. Craig Sharon to Sergei Clementiev, and Scott Metcalf on the breakaway. Meta wound up with a hat trick in the backbreaker for Rochester. The Amerks won 4-1 and came back home up 3-1. Rochester wrapped it up in overtime after blowing a 4-1 lead to the Crunch, who didn't quit. Dane Jackson sealed it 6-5. and the Amerks took yet another step toward the improbable and prepared to play in the Calder Cup championship round. The Rochester Americans matched up against the Portland Pirates in the finals. Like the Amerks, Portland had risen to this point from the bottom of the draw. And for the first time in the history of the Calder Cup, the finalists both had losing regular season records. But they produced a first-rate championship caliber series. Rochester hosted the first 2 games of the championship round, and it took the Amerks all of 50 seconds to get the first goal. Dan Frawley to Scott Metcalf. Dean Melanson put the game away in the third, 5-3. Amerks over the Pirates in Game 1. Game 2, more of the same. Rookie Barry Moore to Rob Kahn. Curtis Brown to Craig Sharon. 5-1 was the final, and the Rochester fans celebrated what most believed was the last home game of the year. If the Amerks didn't sweep their way to the Calder Cup, certainly few felt it would go further than 5 games. How wrong they were. Portland was about to prove its worth in this series. Game 3 in Portland was tied 2-2 in the third. Kent Hulst, from behind Steve Shields, works it in front and scores. 3-2 Portland the final. There'd be no sweep.
Momentum is a fragile thing to hold on to. We were confident in our abilities to get the job done, but the momentum had definitely changed our way. And Game 3, we could have had them down 3 games to none. They didn't play well, but we just didn't get the job done.
Game 4, the Pirates raced to 4-0 and 5-1 leads. Hulst again scored with his own rebound off Steve Shields' skate. Shields, starting his 16th straight playoff game, was wearing down. Andrew Brunette with the goal. Shields was pulled. The Amerks rallied, but Portland wins it 5-4. A return to Rochester was assured, but more importantly, the series was tied.
We go into a tough building, and I felt if we won one early in games 3 or 4, we had them. Obviously, we didn't, and with the 2-3-2 format, it made it really exciting.
Game 5 may have been the series' best game. For the Amerks, Dixon Ward scored with the rebound high on Ron Tugnut. For the Pirates, Jason Ellison to Ron Pescucci. For the Amerks, Rob Kahn to Brian Holzinger. That goal tied it, and Game 5 was headed to overtime. 4:17 into it, the Amerks discovered a hero and reassumed command of the series.
Coughlin lost the handle. Metcalf pokes it up ahead. Nickel coming in. Now the backhand score! Scott Nickel on the giveaway, and the Amerks win it in overtime.
It was an unbelievable feeling. I saw the puck laying there, and Metter had the defenseman tied up, and I was just hoping he was going to chip it to me. And he chipped it to me, and I went in on net and put it on my backhand. And as soon as I turned, saw that red light go on, I just almost fainted. I was so happy.
Pretty good celebration. I don't imagine anything like this is rehearsed.
No, not at all. I tried to get off the ice before the team caught me, but they caught me too soon, I guess.
It was kind of funny. I didn't get an assist on the play, but I sent Scotty Nickel in on the breakaway. I got a pass up the ice, and 2 guys converged on me, and I just poked it by the defense, and I tackled their 2 defensemen so nobody could get Scotty.
Rochester believed that the series was over. Not the team as much as the fans, who flocked to the War Memorial on a Tuesday night, confident that the Amerks would win the Calder Cup on home ice for the first time in 31 years. The festive atmosphere had an adverse effect on the team.
When I first woke up in the morning and I took a look at the paper saying that Rochester is going to wrap it up here, and the stories about how we're going to win the cup, and I think everyone felt that all we had to do was put on our gear and show up, and we were going to win the cup. It was just like that, and it was kind of a fog throughout the day, guys thinking about, well, we're going to win it, and what are we going to do, and making plans, and we kind of forgot that we had to go out and beat a darn good hockey team.
The Amerks played scared, afraid to lose. Portland carried the play to Rochester from the outset. After a scoreless first period, the Pirates got 2 in the second. Stu Malgunas shorthanded. Later in that second period, Dixon Ward scored. made it 2-1. Rochester had life, but only momentarily. Portland responded with 3 in the third, and former Amherst Jay Mazer added insult to injury after scoring the Pirates' 4th goal in what was a 5-1 humiliation. The Amherst reacted to the result with frustration. The team was confused and stunned and had just 2 days to try to get its game back together for the last game of the year. Thursday, June 13th, Game 7. The Calder Cup awaited the winner of the last hockey game.
I remember our meeting in between the games 6 and 7. We didn't talk about any X's and O's, anything about the last game. We told jokes in the locker room. We tried to loosen ourselves up because we were tight. I mean, we were nervous in Game 6, and we couldn't even skate. Dane Jackson told a joke. Scotty Nickel told a joke about a Game 7 he played in Portland in his junior year, and where he lost something like 11-0, and we just more or less kind of BS'd a little bit with each other and try to relax ourselves. And the way we ended the meeting was, I told them, the Stanley Cup playoffs are over right now. We are the last 2 teams playing hockey. I mean, that's quite an accomplishment, and you're not going to be in this position too often.
Game 7 went the way of Game 6, with Portland scoring first. Richard Zednik, the rebound to Norm Batherson. 1-0 Pirates. Rochester didn't score a goal in the period, but Dean Melanson delivered the next best thing, a legal but devastating hit on Zednik. It had no immediate effect on the scoreboard, but it helped focus Rochester's effort.
That changed the whole momentum of the game. It was one of the cleanest, hardest hits I've seen, and he knocked Zednik out, and from then on in you could just see that we weren't going to be denied, and they, like I say, they only had 2 shots on goal after that.
Second period, the Amherst square it. Brian Holzinger's shot is rebounded past Ron Tugnut by Dixon Ward. It was 1-1 after 2. Just 2.5 minutes into the third period, Rochester scored the last goal of the year.
Broad attempt, it's knocked loose, rebound, they score!
There were still 17 minutes left in the game. The Amherst held the Pirates without a shot the rest of the way. 2-1 Rochester. The hockey team would not be denied again.
There was about 30 seconds left in the game. Just don't make a mistake, a 2-1 game. Just keep the puck in deep, and I can't believe how much noise was coming out of the fan.
Rochester with 9 seconds to go. Face-off to be taken by Hulse to the Pirates. Sharon draws it back. Hollinger chasing it down in his own zone. Flips it off the glass, out and down ice, and that's going to be it. That is it. The Rochester Americans, the Calder Cup champions.
Game 7. This is what hockey's all about.
Played for a championship, but we really are playing for people coming out like you guys, just supporting us, and it's hard to put into words how the guys feel about it, and we just thank you so much, and we'll try and make this annual tradition. Keep it going.
It was the Rochester Americans' 6th Calder Cup championship, and it was celebrated for weeks by the city, by the fans, by the players, special players, who will always be remembered in Rochester as champions.
You learn every day, and we learned a big lesson last year in how you approach games. You need to approach them knowing you're going to win with confidence, and things take care of themselves. And I'm very thankful to be involved in something like that, and to have the guys that I had last year to be able to do something like that. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.